got some, looks like some. We have all of our employees and most of our trustees. We got Daniel Glover, our city clerk, and I see Brenda Shear, who is our deputy clerk. And I see Ike Newman, who is our head of our inspection department and building maintenance. So glad to see everybody here. And I'm not there, but I don't think that's going to make a big difference. So we'll just kind of go with the flow here. And if we can, if we can start, if someone would leave this in the Pledge of Allegiance, we'll get the meeting started. Actually, hold on. Let me do one other thing first. Danielle has to call the meeting to order and take a roll call.
Let's see, it is 5:30 and we're gonna call to order. Ron Weiss.
Here.
Dave Perdue.
Here.
Luann here. Renita Jones here. Tony Baldridge.
Almost here. We'll stand now and lead the Pledge of Allegiance. If someone will kick that off, that'd be great.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So just to remind everybody, we are live on Zoom, and Todd Miller, our city attorney, is here with us as well. So we're kind of taking advantage of that. Todd, welcome. Glad to have you. So we're taking advantage of the meeting and the technology, and we'll continue making adjustments as we go. But thanks to Danielle to get us all started tonight. So the first item is review and approve our minutes from April 10th, which is a regular session meeting. If anybody would like to make a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion to approve the minutes from April 10th. Can I say one thing?
Sure.
On this, just for clarification, in case somebody picks this up, would it be possible, like, since I is usually here at the meetings and he contributes, that we at least somewhere in here, either at the beginning, say he's present as a building inspector, or the first time that we use his name, just behind his name, put that he's a village building inspector, just so in case somebody gets these minutes, they don't say, well, who is Mr. Newman? Because if you look at this, you have no idea who Mr. Newman is. So could we possibly do that? Or it would be good to list him as being present. And up at the top, like where we're at, because he usually adds.
I don't think that hurts.
Should that sound okay?
He's a representative of us here also.
Yeah,
He's been here at the meeting. I think that's great. I think it's great.
so I would make a motion to approve the minutes with that addition of adding him. Make sure that at the top, the very beginning, saying who's present.
Okay, do we have a second? Or was that the second?
That was Luann had hers, but yes.
Yeah, well, we can correct
We
it.
can
so
correct that, that can be corrected, and I'll second that, correction with Renita.
Okay, we have a motion to accept with an adjustment. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Okay, motion passed. Thank you. Reports and committees. I'm going to be real short, not a lot of technology. I do want to bring up the incident where some of you were getting spammed as an email from my village email. And come to find out, working with our IT professional, that was coming from Russia. So he was able to block that domain. Doesn't mean that they're not going to move to another domain and start again. But it was kind of interesting that they would be picking up our emails. And Gerald was saying that really that happens a lot because those are public emails. So they're out there and they can see those and they're jumping on those. He did send me a link to report it to the FBI. So I did fill out an incident report. Not that I think that's going to give us any results or anything, but at least it was documented and referred that it happened to the village. So unless there's any questions, that's all I had. Dave,
Yes, sir.
you ready?
Yeah. Thought you wanted to talk to me. Yes, building reports. Let's go into the permit revenues for April of 2023. It was $7,140.
2024 was 5,815, so we're down 1,325. Permit revenue year to date. In 2023, we had 21,135, and in 2024, we had 22,695. So that's up almost 1,600. Building permits processed, there's 8 in 23, there's 7 in 24. Number of permits year to date, it's 45 last year, 43 this year, so it's running very similar to what it really was last year. Again, I think we have more, and an important note right here is year to date. Last year we had 9 new homes, this year we have 4. So we have a lot more remodeling, deck additions, that type of stuff going on this year than we had last year. So that pretty well tracks and makes up the difference in our finances. Have nothing from the fire department. I have nothing on our street, lights. I think those are taken care of. So, but I would like the sheriff department to kind of go through theirs. Mr. Elkin is not here. There's a corporal.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
He's in disguise.
Sorry. I'm sorry. So, but maybe I was gonna have, I'm not well with military. What are the 2 bars mean for you, Easley? What is?
It's corporal.
That's a corporal. Okay, thank you. I feel bad about that. I really do. So the corporal, but anyway, corporal, you can do it too as well. I don't care which of you would like to do the report. That's fine. All right, thank you.
So for the month of April, our deputies responded to 204 calls for service, 7 domestics, 5 motor vehicle crashes, 4 EDPs or emotionally disturbed persons, 2 stealings, property damage, and 2 fraud reports. A total of 23 arrests were made for the month, 14 for driving while intoxicated and 1 for drugs. A significant report that we took over the month was 4 runaway juveniles who stole a vehicle from a residence on Verbena Road. That vehicle was later recovered the next day in Granite City, Illinois. 2 juveniles, all 4 were recovered in Illinois. 2 juveniles are being held there for burglary charges. All 4, we've submitted charges on all 4 juveniles through Camden County for stealing a motor vehicle and property damage. We've recently been getting reports of fraud, which are fake rental properties or similar incidents involving housing in the Horseshoe Bend area. One was a fake listing for a rental property, which is a real property, had real pictures of the interior. It looked like a legitimate ad. That subject was not out on money ultimately. They tried to cash out their money and it got caught as fraud, thankfully. Another was an individual that was closing on a condo on HH, and they got an email from their lender's letterhead saying, hey, forward us the closing costs. They did that, and it turned out to be fraudulent as well. That has all been forwarded to Lake Ozark. That lender is in Lake Ozark City, so we also took a report on it. It's also been forwarded to Lake Ozark to follow up from. So
Good. Thank you.
thank you.
I appreciate you guys being here. Mr. Elkin, you too. We appreciate your presence. Tony, I have nothing else for me on.
Okay. Any questions for Dave? Okay, Ron?
Couple of things, we're gonna talk about a couple of things later, the irrigation and the seeding in the park, and then, the Ridgewood Garden and a few things, we got on the agenda later, but one thing, that was completed was the lighting in all the parks, all that's been repaired. And we did that, you know, less than what the full amount that we had budgeted for it, so, that's all been taken care of. So they put new LED lights, seal beam lights in all the gardens, so they shine on the signs, and new photo cells on all of them. So they should all be working. If anybody notices that anything's not, then it's all working now. So and then the flowers haven't been planted yet, but we wanted to get the electric done before we planted flowers, so. Todd said he'd have the flowers all completed before Memorial Day weekend, so, that should be done here pretty soon. And nothing on the biking path, so, that's all I've got.
Would you be,
Okay, great.
about the park here? Our park here on. Any news on that? Anything different on that?
No, well, we got that, we're gonna talk about some of that later, we got that on some defenders later, so.
Okay, any questions for Ron? Okay, Ron, thank you very much. Luann?
Okay, first of all, you can look at your archive, like, kind of go with that one first and ignore it. Or ignore it, because, QuickBooks isn't set up to do the multi-year budgeting and whatever. So what I'm gonna do is just give you a synopsis of what's going on. You can look at the first column if you want to, because that basically represents what we spent our money on this year. The only income, of course, we have is interest income. All of our money, that's gonna continue to go down and eventually go away. As far as like our projects, most of the building has come in for the restrooms. We have a couple more that should hopefully show up in the May timeframe. The village park ground cover is complete, and, I think all the bills have been paid on that, and at this point, we were under budget by like $11,000 on that from what we originally budgeted, so, that we'll discuss a little bit later. Our current bank balance is over $101,000, but we have pending projects. We've got the sirens that we have to do the installation on, and that was originally bid at $12,800, but since we're maybe doing it in stages, it may go up. The pedestrian trail is one that's on there for $35,000. We have about $6,000 in admin costs upcoming. And with what we're expecting pending bill for the bathroom, that should still leave us with $45,000 in the account to possibly bring on another project or add to existing projects or whatever. So, ARPA's looking really good. As far as our budget versus actuals for our three funds, based on our budget, we're down by $27,000, and this is primarily due to sales tax. And I don't know if you've received the April sales tax yet, Danielle, in the account, but I went online and it went up. Okay, so we're gonna be closer in line from last year to this year, incomparable numbers. So hopefully, if everything else stays where it is, we should be starting to get closer to that breaking even as far as the budget's concerned. Expenditures, most expenditures in all three funds are down by about $43,000. So our net income for budget versus actual is $15,626.35. Then if we look at the comparison from our financial income and expense compared to the year before, of course, still we're down by $21,000 as far as revenue coming in. And that's because of two things. One is the sales tax income. And another thing, if you look up here, miscellaneous income, that was a check that we received for insurance. And that's kind of skewing, you could subtract 8,000 from that and see what would really be as far as our losses, as far as comparable years. Expenses are down in this and all these categories too for the three funds. They're down by $28,000. So as far as our comparison year to year, our net income for this year is $6,746.24. Okay, so we're still in good shape. Any questions?
No.
Luann, that's awesome. Thank you very much. Continue to help us and take care of us, and everything looks good. Renita?
Well, I'm gonna be real quick. I have no reports on anything.
Okay,
Outside of the planning and zoning, which we're gonna hit on next. And
okay, okay. Well, thank you. We'll move on to actually unfinished business, and you're back up again, so.
Okay. So this last movement here we did today will be finally wrapping up the P and Z for sure for members. We have two new applicants. One is Larry Bayless and the other is Joshua Clover. Those two have applied. Clover is gonna be a, alternate. Clover, I'm sorry, Clover, I'm sorry. He's gonna be alternate, and he's Danielle's, husband. And I did go out and look on Missouri CaseNet, since that's what Todd did last time when the group went through, so I went out there. And Larry Bayless, nothing showed up, Joshua only one, and it was 2 years ago, and it was for a expired license plate.
Oh, no.
So nothing big, I see no problem for me, I would think that we should go ahead and approve them being members, and then we can proceed to swear them in, so that's the story on these two.
Do we need a motion on that?
I believe we do.
Yes.
I'd make a motion that we approve those members.
Second it.
Okay, we have a motion made for second to accept the two new members. All in favor?
I,
And
Okay,
then
motion passed.
we'll go ahead and swear them in here, so if you, three would like to step forward, and we'll. Larry, Joshua, of Larry. And after you get these, Danielle will have to, do the, notary thing, so once you get done, just hand them to her, and then we'll get them back to you on your, when we have our first meeting. And Ron. You guys wanna come up here in front? Okay, there you go. So here now, let's just line up here, and what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna let you guys, we get started, I'll let you guys kind of read your own piece of paper. They're trying to repeat, because I had a hard time repeating when I had to swear in on the oath of trustee. So if you guys want to start with I. Okay, and keep reading your individual. Go ahead at the same time, yeah.
For the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Missouri, and to discharge faithfully the duties of the planning and zoning commission, best of my judgment and ability for the village of Four Seasons, for which I was appointed on the 8th day of May, 2021.
Okay, and we'll just have you sign them, hand them to Danielle, and then she'll notarize, like I said. And I will be sending you guys, I'll be sending out an email to everybody, all the members, to pick a date, for our initial get to know each other meeting. So.
Hey,
Hey.
thanks for everybody raising their hand and being part of this. And Renita, thanks for getting all this done for us.
You're welcome. Okay, Danielle over there.
they run away with that.
And then just keep an eye out for an email from me. I'll probably do or a text from me to set up a name.
The names again here, Ron, Nada, Claire Davis.
Joshua. I have to leave as I previously noted. Thank you, Mark. Thank you.
Hey, any more questions for Renita on the Planning and Zoning Commission? Renita, you've done a very good job. Thanks for getting all that done, because I know it's not something you just fill out. It's a lot of work. So looks like we're back up and running. Okay, storm siren update. Does anyone have?
I have no update because of getting with the Brown family. And I was trying to get with you also, Tony, in that particular meeting. So, and again, Cindy, meeting with, we're trying to chat with Cindy Buckley. We're trying to coordinate, she's trying to coordinate 4 or 5 people from the Browns to get this done. So it's you and I, and then we can get with the rest of them. So
We'll figure it out, right?
I said,
Tony,
Pardon me?
that again.
Tony,
Yeah.
I did have an occasion to speak with Mike McDorman last week on that topic. He said he would approach the Browns and speak to them about it. He hadn't heard much about it, so.
Thank you. I believe, did we ever have the equipment delivered to our building?
Not yet,
Okay,
But there,
Okay, I'll be back shortly and whatever you need me to do, be more than happy. We'll figure it out, okay?
we'll do.
Okay, tree removal ordinance update.
I'm sorry.
I just have, I know that I've seen some emails go back and forth. I saw Luann's last email. I didn't know, I just have a question. If anybody thinks that we're in a place to approve this ordinance tonight with some highlighted changes, or do we need to kind of still do some more work?
I personally think there are a couple of little revisions that need to be made, before we can approve it.
Okay.
And luckily, thank you, Todd, you answered most, well, all my questions, but I think there's one that's still open in reference to the HOAs and POAs and whatever, so we'll talk about that offline.
And
Okay.
I agree with Luann, because there's one or two areas that I had, something was changed, and after talking to Jay, it doesn't make sense, the 6 inches from the ground measurement. So there's a few things that I also have. We need to.
Sound like we're close.
Yes, we're close.
Yeah.
Okay. Alrighty, we'll move on to Village Park progress update. Someone want to fill us in on that?
Right.
So-
Since you lived and breathed it.
Yeah, ground cover is done, we have the plumber out for the bathrooms, he's getting all the parts together for all the stuff that was ruined in the winter, not being winterized, that I didn't touch. There's too much mechanical stuff in those bathrooms that I know nothing about, so, he'll get that together, parts, everything, and we get it repaired, and get those bathrooms open, all the other stuff is ready to go. The ship has been repaired, everything was opened up for that one, so, kids and adults were very appreciative. The surface, we've come to find out that the surface in other places, and the kids take their shoes off, but they're not allowed to wear shoes. So everybody's taking their shoes off out there and playing on it, so it's going to last longer.
Oh, good.
Because we don't have the soles of people's shoes running on it. So, we didn't tell nobody to do that, they're just doing it because when they see that surface, they don't take their shoes off, so. There's a few, things we have to do to the playground, we need to get some parts that we need to have repowder coated, because it's on, chip and rust, so. We'll address that at a later date, once the weather breaks. But other than that, everybody is happy with the park and, it's been staying busy daily.
Oh, that's good to know, because I was wondering if you had heard comments yet or not, other than.
Yeah,
remember
and
you
we
said
have
you
a
did.
lot of extra product that's stored in the garage right now. By doing the square footage of Trillium Park, I think we have enough product to do that one, with what we have. So it would just be cost of labor, getting someone to come and lay it down.
Yeah, that was one of the things that I was gonna ask in reference to extra money, the ARPA money, if we wanted to, so.
Yes,
Good to know.
I don't think we need to bring those guys back, I watched them pretty close how they did it.
Mhm.
I think I could get a couple guys together and we could do it ourselves, because it's very simple.
Just need to have the cover
And-
part done.
Yeah, we have to take the mulch out and put the sub base in like we did this one here, but everything else like in that material was pretty simple.
Is that something we want to make any action tonight on Trillium Park?
Is that where the ship has a hole in it? Is it?
Good, for the ship has a whole, yeah, we can address that later. I've got the caution tape off right now,
Okay,
no one's gonna be playing with this weather we have, and so.
yeah.
And now that this part's open, everybody's coming here,
Mhm.
so.
Why don't we do this? It's not actually an agenda item, so we can't make a motion, but we at least can say, is this something we want to pursue? Like maybe next meeting, we can put it on the agenda and make a motion to do something with Trillium. In the meantime, we can kind of think about, what needs to be done and kind of come up with a game plan. Does that sound okay?
Yeah.
Cause it'd be nice to go ahead and use that material and fix that park up. I don't know if anybody's had a chance to go out there and walk on that. It's pretty amazing surface and it really, really looks nice. That park really popped with that stuff around it. So very, very nice job. And I tell you, I was up there a little bit and saw the people working. They knocked that out in no time.
Pretty quick.
Sim- Okay, any more on the village park?
The parking area, is that something we're doing too? I mean, we were gonna extend that parking lot there, is that, what are we gonna
The
do?
parking lots up top? Oh,
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, possibly down the line.
Okay,
I haven't got a chance to figure out a design
okay,
layout yet, so what we need to do, I'm still working with the bathrooms and, getting all,
Yeah.
everything else, I've, got a lot going on right now.
yeah, that's fine, we just need to pay attention to that when we run irrigation lines, that we don't put the irrigation lines somewhere where the parking lot's gonna be, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
I saw guys digging trenches yesterday out there.
Right, yeah,
So I don't know if they looked up or what they're repairing.
well, they're estimating on what it's gonna take to redo it, and I got that estimate, so. But yeah, they looked at it. So anyway, that's all I got on that.
Probably need to lay out a phase plan on that with the restrooms and then the ground cover and then the parking lot and the other part of the park and.
Yeah,
That it'd be. easy to
Definitely
figure out
put
what's
it
up with that.
Detailed map of where that irrigation system is.
yeah. And
Okay.
we're gonna talk about that here in a little bit, so.
Mhm.
Okay, anything else on that? If not, we'll move to the heat and air for downstairs. I think we've made some decisions there.
Yeah, we had two bids on that, and we accepted the lower, bid for, I think it was somewhere around $7,300. They are supposed to be started, the equipment is ordered. And I expect that to be I believe the equipment to be in town in the next couple of weeks, and I would say, by Memorial Day, they'll have it up and running.
Awesome. Well, I think the folks downstairs will appreciate that. Absolutely. Okay, pickleball court update. That's me. Ike and I met with a gentleman right before I left. And he made a proposal to basically redo the whole court. Unfortunately, it wasn't something that Ike or I felt comfortable with. It was basically plastic tiles with that were kind of irrigated where you could see through them. They were colored, but they all snapped together. And I want you to jump in there too, but we just didn't think that that was appropriate for what we want to do.
Yeah, the tiles that we looked at, they're plastic and they're a 1 foot by 1 foot and they snap together and there's a ramp that goes around it. This gentleman said that, we had questions about kids picking up the tiles and he said, well, they can't be picked up. And, we asked him where he had put these at so that we can go look at it and see where it looked at. He says, this closest one was in Illinois, so, but I will drive it if I have to. And then he goes and tells us that there's one at the, park next to the Scolio station. So we went over there and looked at it. And there's like rocks stuck in the holes, and Tony had went out there after it rained, and it gets very slippery.
I bet.
So me and Tony agree we're not to use this material. And you can pick it up. We picked it up right off the surface, so it can be snapped and broken, taken away. I mean, it's not something we both agreed not to use this product.
So we're a little bit more informed. I have got to call in. I think Renita, you know the gentleman that I'm trying to get a hold of. I left a message, but I haven't heard anything back.
Yes, Ken or Kent, he's
Ken.
district's board member. Kent Sprague, Kent,
What's your question?
you're one of your board members, is it Ken or Kent?
Kent.
Yeah, he's the one who used to do striping. That you're trying to get.
Well, yes, I've left some messages. I got some other calls out to some places in Columbia and Springfield. So we're still pursuing it, but like I said, we're a little bit more informed. The kind of what we're asking them to do is basically color the whole court and come back with a different color area for the actual areas where the tennis court would be, as well as the pickleball court. So looking at having like green outline around the court and blue within the court, that seems to be what a lot of people are doing these days. So hopefully we can kind of find somebody to do that as well. I think we talked last time about putting some more parking spaces right outside the fence there. Kevin has agreed to put a culvert in there and put some gravel down and make some spots. Right now, in order to get down to those courts. You have to walk downstairs, you have to walk all down the hill, and I've noticed when I'm down there, people are parking on the side of the street when they're playing basketball. So we're thinking about seeing if we can add about 4 spaces for people that would like to park closer and not have to walk down the hill. Any questions for me? If not, we'll move into the new business. I think Ron, you're up for the irrigation and seeding for the village park.
We got an estimate from, Nelson Land Service on, redoing or fixing the irrigation. It's pretty much starting over out in the park. And, if everybody got a copy of that.
Yes.
Anyway, to redo the irrigation and put in what's needed out there for that is a little over $8,000. That's the irrigation. And then, I just got this today on the seeding, and it's to, hydro seed that, dirt out there that, where we tore it up and kind of overseed some other stuff. It's about a little over $2,000 to do that. So, if we're gonna do this, the irrigation would have to be done, first, obviously, because you're gonna tear some, I think they just knife that, those water lines in, so it doesn't really do a whole lot of damage to the area, but, anyway, that's the estimate on those. Luann mentioned something about maybe getting this irrigation in the ARPA funds.
Since
So I
it was
don't know if
part of
that's
the park
something.
and we didn't spend, we had 11,000 left over anyway.
Yeah.
Nice.
So this whole thing's a little over $10,000, so if we can,
So can all of it be ARPA?
as far as I know.
I mean, the seeding as well as the irrigation?
I would think so. We can ask Joni, but I don't see why it wouldn't
Yeah,
be because
as
it's,
long as it's for that one, should fall in there.
I mean, we can run it by her, but I would think she would say yes, because it's the actual completion of the park.
And when we put down the ground cover, it did interfere with some of the existing irrigation that was already there. So
Right.
it would have to be redone. So
Yeah.
it would probably fall in there.
Yeah. So anyway, that's, that's where that's at, and if we get the irrigation in, I would think, as far as seeding the grass, you probably need to do that, fairly soon. If you wait until July, grass doesn't grow very well. You'd almost have to wait till fall maybe to reseed the grass, but depends on how soon they can do the irrigation, which, I'm not sure how soon they could do that, but.
Good. And just to be clear, because that the infamous $7,500 that we have,
Yeah.
does that throw a red flag?
Yeah, do we need to get
Is that
other bids on that or not?
is that an attorney question for you, Todd, on, we got a little over $8,000 is one number and a little over 2,000 is another number from the same company. That's over our 7,500.
Why didn't you put it out for bid to begin with?
Because
We just got an estimate from Nelson's, who's doing all the rest of our flowers and mows our grass and does all of our lawn maintenance stuff already, so we just got an estimate from them.
Because we didn't have an idea
Yeah,
what it costs, so.
yeah, we just really didn't know what we were looking at, so.
I understand.
already-
I'd just put it out for bid
Okay.
unless, well. Yes,
Go ahead.
since it exceeds your minimum amount, I would put it out for bid.
We
So
can
is
do-
everybody okay with that?
Yeah, we just need to get 2 more bids then, right? We need 3 bids, is that what we need? are supposed to do.
Well, actually, then they have to go through the paper and all that kind of stuff, so we're talking about doing it in the fall by the time we get it through a bid
Probably so.
process.
Isn't there some cool clause that we can throw in there that they're the ones that put in the addition, the existing staff and they've been doing it for 100 years?
If it were an extension of a present project, perhaps. Is this a new project or is it the same parked project perhaps?
Repairing the irrigation that got tore up when we were putting in the new park mat around the playground equipment.
And
So-
the grass got messed
Cause
up.
the lines were running through where the mulch was, so they had to cut that out to put the new mat stuff down. And then the controller and all that was over in the old bathroom, which is all, junk, so this is pretty much just repairing all that.
And the grass was messed up because.
And
of
the
the-
grass, was tore up, installing the new playground, mat, so this is pretty much just fixing all that stuff.
Perhaps it would fall under an emergency circumstance. I'll look at that and I'll give you an email shortly, Ron, on that.
All right, thanks.
So one thing, Ron, on that, did they have anything about like putting, when they do the grass, whatever, that we can do some type of weed control? Cause it seems like there's a lot of weeds back there.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's,
they're gonna hydro seed the grass, which. They got something that sprays over it, to some sort of a mulch on it. And then, as far as the rest of it, I mean, I think they spray the weeds in the grass all the time anyway.
okay,
I don't think
Right.
a lot of grass
Okay.
out, mostly weeds, but they were gonna do some overseeding on that. But, there again, if you don't do it pretty soon, it's too late for the spring, but.
Sure. Sure.
depends
Well,
on-
that's not possible. If we're gonna do a bid, it's not gonna fall, but I just have a question. Is everybody okay with if we need to go out for a bid that we do that and everybody's good with that? And if we don't have to go out for bid, does anybody see any problems with the amount of money that's being proposed by Nelson?
I know I'm okay with it.
I'm okay with going out for bids if you have to, and I'm okay with the dollar amount on these quotes that we received.
I'll second that.
Yeah, me too.
Motion.
But if we have to go out for bids, this might be the lowest one too yet, who knows?
Okay, so go ahead, I'm sorry.
Either way, if we have to go out to bid, that's fine, we have to do that, that's
Yeah.
okay. If not, I think we're kind of happy. I don't think that's too much for the quotes on.
The only, and I'm not sure who else can do it, but I know doctors, I'm sure could
They'll be hired.
bid it. I don't know who else does irrigation and seeding. You might have to go to two different companies. Wood Irrigation does irrigation, but I don't think they landscaping, so you'd have to get somebody else to seed it then probably. I mean, two separate bids or whatever.
So did we have a motion?
So Tony, if I may interject, your village code at section 2-176 provides for a procurement in an open emergency purchase. In this circumstance, if it's health, safety and welfare or the protection of village assets, if this is somehow going to jeopardize or cause concern for the work that you perhaps just did, maybe you could go ahead and make the procurement under the auspice of an emergency circumstance.
I would say we do that, or
I
otherwise
would
we're gonna
say
have a
so.
mess.
It
all
is,
Yeah.
and it's a mud mess
Yeah.
slide out there right now.
Right.
And as well as bringing some of that mud down onto the brand new turf.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. We will
$100,000 turf we have laying out there, I would say it's getting the emergency
Yeah.
and the more rain coming.
And
So,
I can find out how quickly that they could get this done. you know, hopefully, you know, the next few weeks.
With
It
irrigation,
sounds like we can move forward with the Nelson bid based on what Todd's saying and everybody else is thinking, yeah, we need to get this done pretty quickly. Do we want to make a motion to approve the two bids?
Accept the two different bids. One was 8,122. For the irrigation labor repairs of where we tore up irrigation out here. And getting to the turf. The other bid is for $2,082.18, and that is for the seeding, the straw of that same area to keep that mud control down from coming down onto our new turf.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and seconded to approve the two invoices or the two bids that Dave just read off. All in favor?
I,
Okay, motion passed. Thanks, Ron. Sound like we're moving on that.
thanks Todd for finding that spot too there.
Yeah.
But Danielle, in the minutes, that will indicate that that was an open emergency purchase.
okay.
Use that term if you would, please.
Great. Yes, thanks, Todd. Okay, any more on that? If not, we're moving to Bark Park Insurance, and I see that Nancy's there today. And I think this is something that we've done in the past. I know Danielle's got the amount that is open. What we've done in the past is ask that we be listed as a liability on the insurance and that we pay the amount directly to the insurance company. And Danielle, do you have that amount for Nancy?
$83.
I'm sorry.
$853.
I don't have it in front of me, Tony, but that's a fairly consistent number. It's been around $800 for several years.
Yeah, it's $852 and $1 for the optional terrorism. So total of $853.
Is there a $15 something on there too, or is that included in it?
Yeah, it's a participation fee.
Is that something we pay or in the actual total amount or?
That's part of the total, yeah.
Okay, thank you. So without any further discussion, does anybody have any issues with moving forward with this? Like I said, this has been something we've done pretty much every year and it's worked out well for us. Any questions since Nancy's there or any discussion at all?
So
If not,
if you're entertaining motions, I'm sorry to interject, Tony, if you're entertaining motions, whoever makes the motion, please indicate that you're insuring village assets or the village property itself.
okay, do we have a motion?
I'll go ahead and make that we approve, insuring the village asset of the Bark Park. That sound right?
Yes, Ron, thank you.
Okay, we have a motion. Anybody, we have a second?
I'll second that, yes.
Okay. Motion made second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion is passed. Nancy, I'm sure you can work with Danielle or Luann and we can get that check cut and get it out. I know it's due now, so all good. Okay, floodplain development permit fees.
Okay, I can kind of lead on that one. Inspector Ike and I had kind of talked about that. We have already some of these applications in. I think at this particular time, I may be stepping out of it, but I think we were charging $100 for the permit fee for each one that we do. And the reason that we came up with that amount was it's gonna take Ike, you know, it doesn't take a whole lot of time, but it takes time. He's gotta stop something and do something with that and carry on with it. So the $100 was an amount that we had kind of come up with. We've done 4 already.
Correct.
at that amount,
No.
at no amount,
At no amount.
okay? Because we don't have,
I decided-
we don't have this done yet.
Correct.
Okay,
So I would carry on and make the motion that we do charge $100 for this floodplain development permit fee for those that come in for it. I'm surprised we already have 4, but
Yeah.
you know, it's, maybe it keeps on raining, we might have more.
So, you feel comfortable, that 100 is enough to suffice?
Yes, yes.
okay, so they made a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, motion made to accept Dave's proposal. All in favor? Motion passed. Thanks, Dave. Okay, any more conversation on that? If not, we'll move to commercial bills requirement ordinance.
Insurance.
Our insurance, really insurance.
I'm sorry. I'll back up. We are getting ready to do for our annual insurance policy that insures all of our vehicles, building, grounds, liability. And this is something that we do again each year. We changed to MOPERM last year. We're doing the same this year, and I believe based on Danielle's looking back, and I think it might be in your packet, from the past payments that we've made on this insurance policy that it's kind of come down. And what we need to do, that nothing has changed from last year. And we're pretty much the same as it was before that, before we dropped onto MERP, one we're doing now. Danielle and I met with Steve Knott and went through a questionnaire to understand what we were wanting, what we were going to be doing, and basically we didn't really change anything, but it's an exhausting kind of questions of things that go on in the village. Just to give the insurance company an idea of how we manage things. For example, do we have 2 signatures on checks? Just a lot of other things. So we need to kind of think about this and see if anybody has any issues, discussion. I know Renita, you had some questions on some stuff.
I got the answer.
But okay. So what I guess we need to do, if everybody's okay, we need to make a motion to approve our annual payment for the village insurance policy with MOPERM.
We're looking at it real quick,
Okay, that's fine.
give us a second here.
Sure.
We did.
Yeah.
That 13 is actually only for 10 months.
Oh, for 10 months, so it's, oh, yeah, I got the same, okay,
Yeah.
that's fine.
It was, I don't remember why it came in later, but
Okay,
do you remember why it was a shorter 120?
The insurance company canceled our policy in August, which so we only did it 10 months because they were already 2 months into the year. Instead of going all the way through the end of the policy, they gave us notice 60 days to cancel the policy. So we went in with them, which put it back to the same annual time period.
well, I don't have any problem.
The motion.
Make a motion then that we go ahead and, renew this policy with MOPERM.
Second it.
Next year.
Okay, motion made and seconded to accept the policy. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Alright.
Motion passed. Okay, on to the one, commercial build requirement ordinance.
So with, the activity going up there by High Performance, happening there, and it looks like somebody, and now with Danielle sending us an email about somebody maybe wants to put a like a coffee little shop, pop-up coffee shop there. Obviously, we were getting some commercial activity possibly happening. I didn't see anything in our ordinance out in the zoning area about pretty much like facades or anything like that, just commercial setbacks, things like that. I would like to be able, so that the village can have a little say in any commercial business that comes in, especially a brick and mortar business, that we have a little say as to the facade, the appearance of it, so we don't get something that's, you know, looks kind of bad, like a normal Dollar General appearance thing. So I thought maybe we need to get going on creating a ordinance for a commercial building or something to that effect. Whatever else may be involved with that in the case of commercial items, so that was my thought.
And I don't disagree with that. I think it would be helpful to have that. It's probably going to be some sort of a committee that,
Like, yeah,
like, if it's going to review the architecture of it. I mean, the structural part of it will be the inspectors that will take care of that part. We would just need a committee that will be doing the
yeah,
look of it.
which
the
they're,
architect.
you know, they're gonna do. I don't think there'll be a lot of that
I
needed.
don't
committee.
either, but I think it's
Don't
good.
need
I do think it's a good idea to get that
And I don't know if that's something.
committee.
Committee would be with trustee people, or we could have some trustees and some residential people like planning and zoning. I don't know, see that, all that stuff, I guess we'd have to check with Todd to see what kind of restrictions we fall under on that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe we want to get P and Z involved with it.
Or just a separate one in P and Z, and just have, try and get a couple other people besides just trustees, or I don't know.
I mean, sound like we have some good resources on that P and Z. Would we want to see if they would want to volunteer to be on what they suggest in a kind of a committee to kind of start this up and see what they can come up with? And I don't know, I imagine Todd also can help us with,
I was wondering,
What-
can we, Todd, can you weigh in on that just a second? Do you think that we would need to go into P and Z, or do you think a couple of us trustees could be enough to do the, I don't know, ACC on this type of structures?
Well, it's a two-part question. First, I don't think the village code provides for a whole lot of subjective decision-making by the trustees on the appearance of a building. And second, it's akin to your tree ordinance that we're going through, in that the builder's guide for the POA, given that 80 to 90% of properties within the village jurisdiction fall within these covenants or restrictions, on section design and specifications, there seems to be a lot of oversight and subjective approval through their ACC. So I guess my question to you is, do we want to have something similar that we have on the tree ordinance, where only those properties outside the POA covenants restrictions would apply? Or is this something you want to have some governance and control that may or may not conflict with what the ACC for the POA does?
Well, I think the POA is mostly all residential. I think most of all commercial falls in the villages, doesn't fall in the POA jurisdiction. So I guess we don't really, there's nothing, we wouldn't have to follow POAs on commercial because they don't have anything commercial. They're all residential as far as I know. I can double check with Jay.
That's true.
I think that's true.
That's correct.
Is that
And,
correct?
and that could be right, Renita. I'm looking at it here now to see if I can find that, but that very well could be.
Well, and I agree, Todd, I'm not all fond of creating more committees, but I do believe that we are going to be getting more commercial out here eventually, soon enough, and I just don't know who's going to throw the holy water on those plans and architecture and whatever. I don't know what to do to try to make it not look like a Dollar General, not like I'm beating on Dollar General, but just a regular building without some facades to it. I'm not sure which way to approach it, but I think it's coming.
Sure. So I think that's something that we need to look at your code, and you know, it addresses alterations in the zoning chapter. It defines certain buildings. So I think it's something we need to look at to make sure that the code is compliant with what you guys want to do. And then if you want to limit it to only certain, only the commercial aspect of the
Right.
village, then certainly do that.
Yeah, the POA pretty much handles the residential stuff. It's pretty much the, commercial. Now, I guess, and let me know, any property that's not in the POA domain that could be still residential, that just follows under villages domain, that could be maybe subdivided and puts a house or there is, so we'll have to do something, we'll have to make sure we have something in place for that, but that we can follow the POA's kind of thing.
Correct.
So our main thing, a lot of work will be the commercial, and, because we're starting brand new, the POA doesn't do anything like that. And I could kind of check out there to see what's out there in a couple of communities. I just know when I've gone on trips before and I stopped at a McDonald's someplace, they'll have McDonald's and have like some stone on the front, and they'll have, you know, earth tone colors to where it's more appealing. Kind of like the Cove golf course, kind of, I'm not crazy about the green they use, but they kind of spruce that up a little bit, so it looks a little bit nicer than it did before. So something like that, just so it fits in and complements our community.
Do you guys think that this is something that could hit us here sooner than later? That we'll have someone who wants to come in and buy that property up by the community center?
Yes.
And, so I think it's one of those that maybe we should get ahead of. I don't know what y'all think, but
Yeah, I would like to try to get ahead of it, and I don't mind taking the old charge at it, just because it's gonna come.
This will maybe give us a little time.
Yes,
Kind of
but
work on it,
yeah,
we're not
we need to get
rushing.
started on it. It's,
okay. So they sound like that's something you want to take a look at for us, or you want some help with that, or?
no.
Okay.
I'd just like to do everything.
Okay, Dave, thank you for raising your hand on this one.
Well, I can do a little research on it. Kind of basic stuff, I can kind of do some basic research since I'm kind of
Just repeal.
bringing it to the table. And then if I need some help or whatever,
Right,
maybe I can ask you to look at this or
Yeah.
send it to
And
everyone.
I bet you would find somebody in the P and Z to jump in and help and volunteer as well. This is a resource. Okay. All right, good suggestion. Looks like we're gonna do something with that. Any more conversation on this one?
Well, Renita opened it up about the, and I don't know if you're done with that, Renita, about the, what do you call these? Little taco stands, movable taco stands, coffee
Oh,
shops,
yeah.
food trucks, thank you, yes,
That's coming up in about actually one more item
Oh, I'm sorry.
on the agenda.
In that
I meant,
particular-
but, yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay, Richwood Garden, Ron,
Well,
do you wanna,
Renita knows the history on that, but it's
okay, Renita?
on Ridgewood, and somebody else apparently took care of it for. a
Yeah, the
number of
Richwood
years.
Garden, some of you guys are probably familiar with it because you were trustees at the time of misunderstanding, mishap, whatever took place. Basically, the village took care of it. Then a resident down on Ridgewood started kind of cleaning up some of the, trimming back some of the trees, and he bought the flagpole and put the flag up and that kind of stuff. Then he, at the time, I was a trustee, and he had come and asked me to plant some flower annuals, and I told him, I said, well, yeah, as long as you don't spend a lot, go ahead and do it, because I trust you. He did, he had it was a small bill, like $35, I guess. Well, when he came and brought it in, by that time, I did not renew my trusteeship at the time, so I wasn't a trustee any longer. So he brought the bill in, and then there was a confrontation, kind of like, why you know, giving me this bill, the village did, why are you giving me this bill, you didn't ask us, such and such and such. So they got a little turmoil, the village decided not to pay the guy $35. The village then decided, that the guy could take care of it, village disowned it with a letter, disowned the gardens. The guy did take care of it. I think he picked up the water. And I guess the electric. I know the village stopped doing that. Then the guy, I guess in like 2 years, he moved to be closer to family, him and his wife. And then nobody's been kind of taking care of that gardens. I've been kind of, when the flag gets kind of tattered, somebody calls the PLA, they call me because they say we don't do it. They call me and I take care of it, put the new flag up. So I was thinking that we have some funds about the village taking that flower bed back over. As far as the regular running of it, it wouldn't be much more than one of the other gardens, like on the water or the lights. It wouldn't be that, any more than any one of those. The thing is though, getting it activated may cost a little money. I talked to the water company. And when they were going around doing meters, I guess they checked it, there was, they checked that meter, because there was still a metered water meter there. They saw there was no account, so they pulled that meter up. So now we have to put a new meter in, which will be one of the new ones, and that's gonna be $360 there, I know.
That's all.
So, yeah, that's what, I talked to Anthony, and that's.
The pits are, yeah,
Yeah.
it's comfortable.
Okay, so that's, yeah, oh, good, I feel good, because I was like, oh my God, $360, oh my. But that, and then it'll just be the ready charge that we get,
And there's-
whatever wattage we use.
Yeah, there's no electric meter there either.
There's not an electric meter, I went out there one time and looked, couldn't find one, and what happened there, the light that was shining on the flagpole, the sign, that village sign that used to be there, has been running all the time until last December. And then the light was out, and a resident that lives on Palisades noticed it and was wondering, obviously it means a lot for him to have the flag lit up. So he called the PLA, who then called me. So anyway, I went and changed the bulb, it wasn't the bulb. Then I called Ameren, a guy came out and thought we were talking about the street light. And I said, no, we're talking about the garden light. He goes, well, I don't handle that section, but he went and looked at the post that has the gray boxes and they're empty, there's nothing in them. So he goes, it looks like they pulled that meter. So Danielle was trying to reach out to Ameren to try to get an idea, and Ameren is supposed to have a tech coming out and let Danielle know when they're coming out so that I can go out, or Ron, if I'm not available, Ron can go out and then to see, get an idea of what that's gonna cost to activate that. Irrigation is there because last December, the irrigation was still on and it was going at one point in December, and somebody drove by and said, oh, what's going on? Called the POA, same thing, called me, and I called the village, and I think we got it turned off. So there's irrigation, we don't know if it's damaged or what, so we have to have Nelson.
The lid on the box there where the valve is at is broke, but whether, you're gonna have to turn it on and see what works, but I mean, it's there. I assuming it would still work, it just needs a new cover on the box is all. The
Okay,
controller is still there on the pole.
okay, good,
You have to get the electricity hooked up to find out,
right. So basically getting the water, new meters, electricity.
Yeah, and then, I mean, there's a couple of plants there, or bushes or whatever, it
Yeah.
wouldn't take much to throw a few
Yeah.
annuals in that garden.
And to be quite honest, this year, if we didn't get annuals in there, it's been without annuals.
Yeah,
For 2 years, so it's not gonna, as long as we get the mulch and it's kind of dressed up.
yeah, and the flagpole's already there and all
Yeah.
that, so I mean,
So, yeah, irrigation check, electric hookup, and the water meter
mhm.
hookup and.
So are you guys okay if we kind of throw that in as with all the other gardens that we take care of and take care of it the same way?
I don't have any problem with it. That would be,
Yeah.
we don't really have any gardens west of Carl's Market. That would be our
Oh,
first.
yeah,
first.
You got Key West.
Key West.
Does Key West have one of them?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, a nice one, yeah.
But
Well-
since it's
Yeah,
established, this was established, the flagpole there, so it kind of is pronounced,
Right.
and I think Nelson has on occasion actually put some mulch over there, because I've seen fresh mulch like last year, and I'm thinking,
yeah,
oh my goodness, this is interesting. And I know I've tried to get some neighbors down there, maybe to maybe get active and take care of it, but most of it like that down there's maybe part-time and they're not. And then since it's not my street, I'm not gonna take on another street. I already got my street guard. I'm not gonna take on another one.
So do
So,
we want to ask Nelson to stop by, take a look and add this to their list?
Yeah, I can do that if that's what we wanna do.
but
So,
do a first water, meter put in so that they've got any.
Yeah, I would say you probably have to get that done first so they can check the irrigation.
Todd's got something to say in case you can't see his hand up.
Todd, I can't, no, I see Todd now. Todd, go for it.
I hate to be the lawyer in the room. Renita had a fairly decent summary of the history of this property. The reason the gentleman began or continued maintenance of that park, as I recall, is the village does not own that park. That was an old lake handshake deal, as I recall, where that park and even maybe one or two others have been put on other people's properties without any type of easement or written cooperative agreement. So when the irrigation became faulty, the electricity perhaps became faulty, and some other repairs were necessary or wanted, the village at that time asked that gentleman if he wanted to continue to do it. Perhaps they would volunteer some monetary contribution for a beautification project, but they weren't insistent on putting a great deal of money into it because it came to light that they don't own it. So any effort you make towards that beautification spot, I think, is painting someone else's house until and unless we can get an agreement with that person.
There's two or three of the other parks that we already take care of are on somebody else's ground too. The one that Columbine definitely is, and a couple of them are on Four Seasons Lakeside's properties too. So we're already got two or three of our gardens that are on somebody else's property.
Well, I did happen to talk to Jay about that, because that corner lot has been staked out. And then when the light went out, I'm thinking, oh my God, what's going? So I wanted to reach hold of that property owner on the corner to find out what his plans were gonna maybe be, if he wanted it. But otherwise, I was gonna take the flagpole down and take the rocks out and whatever plants I wanted, and, you know. And he said, no, leave it. He goes, leave it there. He goes, because when I get my house and I build it, he goes, I may even do a little work with it, maybe maintain it a little bit. Maybe pull in some weeds or stuff like that. So it sounds like he's okay with it. And only because the village had it before, I just figured. And like you said, Ron, we already have some gardens out there. And I know Todd is right, where village is putting money there. That may be something that, we're just throwing our money in the lot all down the way and they get rid of it. But I would think that 98% of the people, if they had that and they built, that's nice having a nice little garden there, and they don't have any issue with the village doing what they're doing to beautify.
Yeah, the disagreement there was that gentleman wanted a more higher end improvement than the village was willing to commit, I think, financially. So they told him basically, if you want to go forward and repair that or maintain that beautification spot, we certainly won't oppose it, but we're not going to financially commit a great deal of money to it. I think that was the ultimate decision, as I recall. That was during Chairman Sandbo's term, as I recall. That's how far that one goes back.
So it sounds like either we can walk away from it and let that be privately maintained, or we some kind of role with this, whether we're gonna do a little bit or whatever. What do y'all want to do?
So years ago, we kind of bantered about the topic of maybe having a beautification supplement paid to people that wanted to do something like that within the municipality, and give them some seed money to do something, but it never really got off the ground. So that's one topic that we tried. We also talked about getting a easement or getting a cooperative agreement or an MOU with the landowners so that he or she would encumber a subsequent owner if they were to sell that property. My fear is that somebody might buy that property, discover that they own that dirt, and then just do something else entirely with it.
Well, my feeling on that comment is then if they do that, then at that point, we just break up the garden. I mean, that's what a owner wants to do, but so far, I think most people enjoy gardens, the beautification of them. And I would think most people would like them there unless it's somebody who's, and it's right on the corner, it's not like in the middle of this driveway could be there or anything. So I just,
So,
it'd be good to have.
so we either need to say, yes, we're gonna participate in this, or no, we're not. When we say yes, I don't know what all that means. Whether we throw a limit of not to exceed, or we just say, you know what, we're gonna take care of it, just like we take care of the other gardens.
It's, that small area is gonna be, if we decide to do this, once the meters are fixed and it's gonna be at the bottom and one of the least expensive gardens that we have, because it's not a very big area.
And there's nothing, no, I don't see any need for any big hardscape stuff to be there. And
Yeah.
the other thing is we'll have to purchase another Village of Four Seasons sign.
Right, and a few annuals every year is all it's gonna amount to, and then whatever it costs to run the irrigation and the light.
Yeah, I would think it'd be very
But it's gonna be one of the
small.
least expensive ones we have.
Mhm.
Well, does anybody want to make a motion to move this into our current plan of taking care of village gardens?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and make that motion that we do that.
I second if I can second. Let's see a second, I'll second.
You didn't make a motion, you're gonna second.
Yep.
Okay, motion's made, accepted to roll this into how we take care of our existing gardens. Everyone in favor?
Right.
And
Okay,
Ron,
did we get three at least?
I'll contact Todd once we get the
while we're
water
going,
and electricity hooked up.
Okay, moving on. Food truck ordinance. I know there's something that came up, and I know Danielle, I don't know if you want to share the request you got about somebody wanting to come in and do something in the village.
Yeah, I got a call the other day, they're looking at maybe doing, it's considered a mobile coffee shop, but it wouldn't be mobile, they would just have it parked there, it's like a trailer that they were looking at bringing into that lot, right next to the campgrounds, Mike Riley's front area there. And he was asking about what kind of ordinances we had and if that was something you could do and he would like to do it, have it 7 days a week, like 7 AM to noon unless demand requires more, but we don't have a food truck ordinance, so I didn't really have anything to tell him.
Well, I think we need a food truck ordinance, just because, I mean, you know, if they stick a food truck right there in front of some restaurant, they're selling tacos and beer out of it or whatever they can do, maybe not beer, maybe not alcohol, but so what? I would be a little bit disgruntled if I was paying my taxes to Four Seasons and this guy's not.
Right.
So I don't know much about what food trucks, what other cities have for food truck orders, usually.
well, I did some.
Well, I thought you. I figured if anybody would, you might.
Cause I, the newspaper, and they've been articles in there since March about Osage Beach
Yeah.
doing theirs. And they finally settled on there, they don't have that current one on their website. But they do have one out there, so I'm trying to find the final one, but the lady can get a hold of me. They do, I did look up Lake Ozark, and they have a food truck ordinance also. And a lot of theirs is said, they have it, and they say it can't be there a permanent thing there. And I can't sit there, I'm assuming, my interpretation,
Right.
can't sit there for that long.
Better have wheels.
So.
It does have,
It does have.
he didn't plan on moving it.
We didn't plan on moving, where this one, I think there says you have to get it moved. The ordinance on Lake Ozark basically says they can have it, they can also be, I think it was a Lake Ozark one that said that they can have it they could be so many feet away from, like, not really that much of business, because of the fact they said, it's no different than there being Chili's and then Outback's right down the hall, you know, there's competition there. So it was kind of like, that's kind of like, well, that happened. But there is stuff about having their application and paying the taxes, and they have to have their license, and they have to have Department of Health certification. So there's a lot of things there that are required of them to be able to have it. So, I didn't look, you know, real deep into it and highlight stuff, but at least we have like Ozark and then Osage Beach has, so I figured we'll see what that is, and then I can kind of bring that together and distribute it and let us all look at.
Mr. Chairman, do you think that could be a delayed thing that we could maybe put on the next month's agenda to get it? That's just what you were gonna say. I thought so.
No, I think Dave, you have an excellent idea. So how about if Renita can send something out fairly quickly for us to kind of look at, and then it sounds like we can maybe, and Todd, I don't know if you want to jump here in here or not, but it sounds like we may be able just to reuse something that Lake Ozark's already doing. I mean, they obviously spent some time.
Yeah, Lake Ozark adopted theirs somewhere around 2021, it looks like, and it doesn't go into a great deal of code specificity as far as health and safety. It's location and temporary status and not on public lands and things like that. I will point out, I looked at Jefferson Cities in advance of tonight just to kind of peruse theirs. They have an application form, a checklist of supplies that a mobile vendor needs to have. But it does read that if this is a nonprofit organization, there was a Senate Bill 525 in 2014 that does not now require nonprofit organizations to obtain any type of a temporary food permit. So if this is a for-profit entity that's doing this, they'll have to get your business license and temporary food permit. But if they're a nonprofit, it looks like for whatever reason, the state may be encouraging that to occur, and they're encouraged but not mandated to receive any type of a temporary food permit.
So
But
Renita,
in short, Tony, I can get that together for you, yes.
Well, the Lake Ozark, ordinance here, under section, whatever, let's see. 613.03, number 5, it does say here about any person engaged in mobile food vending shall have for any mobile food vehicle a current copy of the sales tax certificate, lease property use consent letter from the landowner or their authorized agent, which shall specify a description of the property, the name of the mobile food vendor, and the period that he or she is permitted for. Anyone engaged in this mobile food vending must provide health department compliance and required inspection reports, vehicle registration, and insurance that meets or exceeds the state's requirements, and a food liability policy. So, you know, so there is some, you know, those, so they do cover pretty much trying to, you know, protect the city.
I don't think we need to reinvent the wheel here. This is something, if someone's done some work, hopefully we can just borrow theirs and put a stamp on it and say we're done.
Todd can look at it and again, put the stamp on it, like you say. How much was Lake Ozark be for fun? Did it say, or not really?
Let's see, I don't know, I'm not seeing, let's see, no, I'm not.
That's okay, you know, we'll get that
But,
figured out.
Osage Beach has something in there about the fee, for it.
So let's try to get this all wrapped up and out to everybody before the next meeting so that we can come into this meeting and do a motion and 2 readings and have this thing done. Is that okay?
Yes. Renita,
All right.
the inspection reports, what kind of inspections are they,
Okay.
as in like fire inspection or building inspection or whatever? Because if these guys just show up, I can't just stop and run out there to inspect it so they can open up and stuff.
Oh, right.
I would hope you're not involved in it.
Yeah, I think it is.
I know, but like fire, I believe is part of the commercial of us, so they would have to be notified.
Yeah.
You know, to
Don't they
get-
have to get like a approval permit or something before they can just show up though? I mean, so
Yeah, I think
all
they
of that
do.
would have to be
And before.
verified before they can just pull up.
Yes.
Okay, sound like there's some framework there that we can leverage and have this thing resolved and voted on and passed next meeting, because we already got somebody that we can't say yes to that wants to do this.
And he's probably gonna reach out to me soon and find out what was decided, so at some point, just let me know who to direct him to. So that can give him better answers than I can.
Well, if you want to, direct it to me, and I'm just gonna say we're in the process of creating an ordinance and plan to have it completed next month's meeting, and at that time, we'll be able to give him an answer.
I'll tell him that too, and that might be enough. He's a friend
Okay.
of, he might prefer to hear it from somebody other than me.
Okay, well, I'll be more than happy to chat with him, and, welcome to the village too, so. Okay, any more on that? If not, we're gonna move to floodplain ordinance.
Okay, I brought to put that on the agenda because, when I was looking at some other ordinances, I saw that we had floodplain ordinance. And because we changed our floodplain administrator, and got rid of Camden County. In the ordinance, it mentions Camden County as the village's, administrator. So I figured we have to update that. We need to get that updated. And then I'm not sure on the rest of this, if anything's changed. And so I was thinking about maybe getting hold of that Linda Olson and seeing if she can look at this to see if there's anything that's changed, or if Todd knows how we can check to see if this ordinance has any other needed updates.
Is this different than what Ike is already on?
No, he's on the permanent. No, this is the same. I mean,
It's still the floodplain administration. I believe the letter that Todd sent would take away Camden County altogether. Because we had stopped them from being the floodplain administration, we took it over as the village, so we would just have to change our ordinance book saying that they are no longer.
right,
We had that 60-day letter that Todd had sent in.
right.
Am I correct with that, Todd?
You're muted, Todd.
Correct. You terminated your relationship with them.
Is this just a simple change that we can,
I mean,
again,
So,
what's the,
so that are we talking about floodplain or emergency
Yes.
management? What are we, floodplain?
yes,
So, yes, so, your section 20-112 looks like in your, village code talks about flood hazard reduction and application for floodplain development permits. So, in looking at it, I don't see any reference to Camden County, but
section 2025, 2030. It mentions the county planning and zoning administrator is hereby designated as a floodplain administrator.
yeah, I see in 20-51 and 52, it refers to a county planning and zoning administrator, so.
can we just cut and paste?
Yes, so we'll amend those sections of your code, and I'll try to have that done by next month's meeting.
Okay, thanks, Todd.
My next question is, Todd, in this ordinance, is there a possibility that anything has changed in the floodplain world since this ordinance was established? That needs to maybe be updated? So while we're doing the update of the administrator, we can update whatever else may have to be updated, or what do you think? Do the administrator first update and then come back?
So can I just jump in here? I would say, let's just minimize the scope to get it changed now, because it's not correct.
Correct.
And then if we need to come back later and do some overhaul, if everybody's okay with that, let's just fix it so that it's correct.
And,
Everybody
and in
okay?
response to that, Tony, I think the only thing that would change somewhat regularly would be the floodplain designations themselves. As the Army Corps or whoever makes that determination on behalf of the feds. But as far as the procedures that Ike would have to do as floodplain manager, I can't answer that. I can't respond to that.
Okay, well, if everybody's okay, let's minimize the scope of this, and then if we need to come back, we can do that at a later date. Is that okay?
Yep.
Okay. All right, moving on. Thanks, Renita. Moving on, general discussion. Does anybody have anything they want to bring up that's not on the agenda?
No.
I have one thing. I'd like to propose we do a a long-term planning session next month on that Monday, June 12th. Some things that we talked about last time, we wanted to get together and figure out what are some of the things that we can do during in the village. I had one thing I wanted to throw out. I don't want to discuss a whole lot here, but we own 3 lots of the 4 lots from the building out to HH. Just kind of throw ideas out as to how we can kind of start thinking, could we take one of those lots and put a pavilion on with some grills around it and some tables? They could park in the parking lot there with the sheriff's park. So I'm not, wanting to make a motion to do anything, but I just want to see if you guys were up for coming in and kind of looking at some long-term stuff to do in the village.
Sounds good to me.
Anybody else?
Yes, I think, yes,
That's fine, yeah.
needs some long.
Okay. Okay, we'll tentatively set it for 5:30 on Monday the 12th before our regular meeting. That's on the 15th, I believe. Or no, I'm sorry, it'd be Monday the 12th, 10th. Is that right? I got it right? Let me look.
Ten.
Yeah,
Yes, the 10th.
Tony, I just to add something to that, I received in the mail, some grant information on some recycled, benches, picnic tables and stuff. The application for the grant is to be turned in by June 14th. Okay, so before you have your meeting, would you, give me some time, would you want me to put together that grant to get some of those picnic tables to put in your pavilion or benches? that are-
My pavilion? Yeah, I think that would be fine. I mean,
It's a
absolutely.
Missouri Department of Natural Resources.
Okay. Any other, that'd be great. Thanks, I.
How many
Any
tables
other,
you want in the bid? Because it said you have to have a bid. How many tables you want? How many benches do you want? So I can put that in that grant form.
what do you guys think? 8,
For a piece.
6?
That's a piece.
6, we'll do 6. All right.
What, 6-foot long tables or 8-foot long tables?
Ike, what,
sounds like we're redoing a kitchen.
we'll do 6 8-foot.
8-foot, okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, moving on. Danielle, you have some things that are share with us? Audit prep?
That is underway. I have most everything that they have asked for already set and ready to go or sent to them, whichever the case is. I believe that's gonna be on May 20th. Work comp audit, that's already been sent off as well. I haven't heard back from them yet, which I probably won't for a while. That's really it for the audit prep. The Zoom and YouTube broadcasting, you kind of touched on that earlier. It's just, we have it on YouTube now, the first one. I'll post this one after, probably, I would like to say tomorrow, but it might not be tomorrow. But I'll post it up on our YouTube channel too, so when you get a chance, go out there and like it and subscribe or whatever you need to do so we can get more views, and the more views we get, the better. And then my other thing was this text.gov stuff. You guys have these little the green stuff. A while back, Tony, you and I had talked about ways to communicate with the village, and we kind of explored the text option. I had another call with these guys, and they gave us a little bit more information on how we could use it, and we can use it pretty much however we want. It can be customized and we can set it up. So let's say sometimes I'll get a phone call that there's a tree down in the road. Well, that doesn't apply to us, but if they text that, we can have it set up that, thank you for letting us know, please contact, and we can put in whatever we want in there. If there's a water problem, we can direct them to the water district, those things. But we can also use it as, let's say, for example, the park. Send out a message to anybody who has subscribed to it or signed up for it, that the park is now reopened, you're welcome to enjoy all the fun stuff.
Well, the park is closed.
Mhm.
Don't get on the ship.
Or this month's meeting has been rescheduled, or we can use it for however we want to.
Okay.
They set it all up, they do all of the training and maintenance and everything like that.
Did you talk to, our tech guy? Daryl, when I was at the water company board meeting last month, they were talking something about, he was talking something about, a .gov, and it may have been more of an email thing, but he said something about that can be something that could be easily more hacked into, so it's probably email. I didn't know.
Yeah,
if
this
you-
is just a
Okay,
text
okay.
situation, it hasn't, it won't be anything that's on our server.
Okay.
I don't know how that affects Sunshine though. That's one thing that we probably need to check into. But this is the information they gave me on the last call I had with them, and they did include some package pricing on it if it was something that we decided we wanted to explore a little bit more. So I just wanted to give you guys the information so you can look at it and help me with questions, because I have another call with him on the 15th, I think.
No, I'm going to that training class, I'm going to that training class.
Well-
That's gonna talk about, somebody can talk about sunshine, maybe I'll take this.
Todd, you want to jump in on this one?
I'm hearing something about a text broadcast. Is that what I heard?
Yeah, it's with the text, MyGov. And it's government side of it, so they might even be able to assist on the sunshine thing, but it would just be, a way for us to communicate with residents, stuff going on, or if they wanted to communicate with us, if we could have a computer generate answers and help direct them where they need to go versus having to make a phone call every time.
In the interim, I see Jerry Jackson's legs in the bottom left of my screen. The road district currently has a text broadcast. You may want to pick their brain and see if they have some thoughts on that and in doing it more inexpensively. But that sounds like a good tool.
No,
We're getting rid of ours.
Are you really? That's my multi-line text.
I know.
Well, very few people use it, and we've got way more people that follow us on Facebook, which is free.
mhm,
This has cost us $1,100 a year, I think it is. And it's a real pain. So I think we're gonna have it through August, and then we'll go to Facebook, and we'll also ask the people who want to give us an email. We will also can do email. But those are all free, doesn't cost us anything.
right.
We only got like 200 and some people that sign up.
The water company does a text whenever they have a boil order too, you may see what they do. Now, they don't.
So why don't we just have some folks just think about this?
Good idea.
And then Danielle, do you have any pricing that's in the package you gave us or didn't? I'm not sure.
They gave us a pricing package that it's, let's see. For the package itself, it's $3,600 a year. There's a implementation and setup fee for $1,700, so the first year. The first year is $5,300 and then it's $3,600 after that. So a little better than some other options that were out there, but at the same time, when I first started talking to him, I didn't think that we would really benefit from this because we don't have roads, we don't have sheriff, we don't have water, all the things that we don't have. But then in my last conversation with him, he was telling me a little bit more about how we can make it more preemptive for people that want to use it. But I kind of think that we will end up in the same position like the road district, where we won't really have that many people.
Yeah,
And so it's gonna be money that we're using for a handful instead of everybody.
We're just getting people to sign up for it. They want to do it.
Exactly. So, and we are I am working with our web guy, we're gonna make sure that on our website, people can sign up for emails and updates and things like that, so, and that's relatively free also. So I
Well,
think
maybe,
had probably just as much luck going that route as this route, but I wanted to let you know what I found out.
okay, why don't we just kind of sit on this one? And at least we have some information as we move forward with some type of communication plan. Everybody's okay, we'll just
Yeah.
not do anything right now. Okay, Todd, Danielle, is there anything else? I'm sorry.
No, I don't have anything else.
Okay, well, thank you for helping on this audit, and I think, I'll be there, we'll figure it out, it should be fine for us. Todd, I skipped over you. Todd, do you have some updates? Would like to share anything with us?
Um, as I said, I spoke with Mike McDormand. He sounded very positive about it when I explained what we were trying to do. Of course, he's a resident of Horseshoe Bend, so I think he wants to see that happen as well. It hadn't crossed his desk, so when Cindy referenced legal counsel, apparently that wasn't Mike. They might have had somebody else in mind on the sirens. The tree topic, that ordinance is underway and moving forward. Luann's been very approachable, and I'm sure we'll get that hammered out by next meeting. And then the other topics that you mentioned tonight, I'll just remain available if you want to talk about those. The court in and of itself seems to be continuing well. We're at the 3 o'clock spot now because you were the first to go at the lake, and now there are 3 or 4 subsequent municipalities that have jumped on board. Sunrise Beach, Lynn Creek, Camdenton, and perhaps one other. They're all allowing the Camden County Circuit Court now to conduct their and manage their municipal tickets. So it works very seamlessly. Everything seems to be going well, and they haven't come knocking on our door asking us for some unreasonable fee to do it. So let's just keep allowing them to do it.
Okay, anything for Todd?
No.
Okay, do we have anybody that would like to address the board? Anybody signed up for comments? Okay, at this time, we're gonna go into closed session. We're gonna have some discussions to talk about some employee evaluations. We will come out of closed session and immediately end the meeting. And at this time, we will do a roll call for people for us to go into closed session. And Danielle, if you would lead that, please.
Ron Rice,
Yes.
Dave Purdue,
Yes,
Luann Rock,
Yes.
Renita Jones. Yes.
thank you all for showing up. Appreciate you being here. And you too, Nancy. It's always good to see you, right? And the same thing that we did.